Racing to the 2020 Kentucky Derby, and this time let's take a look back at the 2020 Kentucky Derby. The winner, Authentic, the son of Into Mischief, getting the job done pretty much wire-to-wire fashion as he broke well from the 18th post. And let's take a look at how the top three horses finished out of this race and kind of the race shape. Of course, Tiz the Law came into the race as the big 3-5 favorite, and for most of the betting he was right around 4-5. And a lot of people just kind of expected him to dominate, especially after the scratches of King Gallarmo and Finnick the Fierce. And then with 10 minutes to post, 1,000 Words ended up being a late scratch as well. Earlier in the week, we talked a couple of times, you know, all of the scratches, especially the two big scratches of Art Collector and King Gallarmo, really benefited Authentic. It went from two possible pace pressers. They were never going to be need to lead type or early types, but two possible pace pressers were scratched, and that meant the only horse who could possibly have the lead and go wire to wire was pretty much Authentic, and he really moved up in my rankings after that was established. You pretty much knew he was going to be on the engine, he was going to be on the front, and Authentic, with that 18th post, also that kind of cemented that he would kind of get that trip from the outside. The race unfolded. Authentic broke a little bit to the outside, but John Velasquez really corralled him in and was aggressive in coming over and establishing the pace. Honor AP got shuffled back, and I think that hurt his chances tremendously in this race, but he never really showed that burst of speed, and a lot of people had kind of wondered if he kind of was more of a grinder type of running style in this type of a race. Now, Tiz the Law, he broke well, and basically Manny Franco elected to sit back in that pressing trip, which was a good spot for Tiz the Law. And I'm not sure he needed to be on the lead, but a couple of times Authentic was able to kind of open up on that backstretch and open up that lead. And coming into the stretch, Tiz the Law made his move. Looked like he was going to get even. I don't think he ever actually got even with Authentic. And then Authentic really just showed some gameness, and that's where these horses are finally tested. You know, Tiz the Law had faced some questionable competition, especially when Dr. Post lost earlier that day at the Jim Dandy. That kind of raised some eyebrows, so that defeating Dr. Post in the Belmont Stakes didn't look as good as it did at the time. And the Haskell Stakes for Authentic, I think, was a little bit of a head scratcher for some handicappers, because Authentic opened up the big lead and then they really did ease up on him, and I think New York traffic just ran his eyeballs out that day, and that really made the margin of victory look a lot less. I think if Authentic wins that Haskell by 3 lengths, I think he's closer to 6-1 in the odds rather than 9-1 in the betting. So I think that was a big difference in how people perceived Authentic would run in the Kentucky Derby. Also the Into Mischief breeding. And really, I think people kind of just made up their minds about Authentic a couple of races back. Maybe also, you know, remember back in that Santa Anita Derby, he broke a little bit wide and they gave up the lead. Not a great ride. I think a lot of people criticized that ride by Drayden Van Dyke. So it looked like at the time that maybe Honor AP and Authentic were a little bit closer in ability than the Santa Anita Derby indicated, especially at 9 furlongs, maybe not at 10. Tiz the Law, I don't want to red board here because I did pick Tiz the Law to win the race, but I do think a key factor, this was the shortest turnaround of his career, and Authentic had 6 weeks to prepare for this race. Also, they kind of went a couple of weeks without a workout for Tiz the Law, and then a key factor on Thursday and Wednesday, the track was sloppy at Churchill Downs, and they didn't do a lot with Tiz the Law. And even Barclay Tagg in the press notes said that they were going to wait till Friday to get him back on the track. They let up on the gas a little bit here on Wednesday and Thursday. Authentic went to the track those days, galloped heartily on Thursday and Wednesday especially, and that's really how that extra little bit of conditioning may have played out in Authentic's favor and not in the favor of Tiz the Law. Third place finisher, Mr. Big News, a late entry. He ran well. The interesting thing enough is he was involved in the race up by the close to the mile mark. He was never really shuffled back, got a good trip, made his move, and ended up running a big race for third, so a good decision by them to enter the Kentucky Derby. The top two, though, were well ahead of the top third place horse, Mr. Big News. Couple of horses didn't really fire good efforts here. I expected a little bit of better effort from Honor AP. I think he's capable better than that, but I just don't think he trained as well the last couple of weeks as he did going into the Santa Anita Derby. Not sure why. And then, of course, getting pinched at the start probably contributed to him being last and next to last early, and he just kind of had to grind his way out to a fourth place finish. Tiz the Law thinking about going to the Breeders' Cup Classic right now and training up to that race rather than running for the Preakness, and looks like 1,000 Words and Authentic are going to go to the Preakness Stakes up next for the tight turns of Pimlico. What did you think of the Kentucky Derby? Kind of give you some of your thoughts. Did Tiz the Law let up on the gas a little bit? Were they a little overconfident? Was he a little undertrained? Or did Authentic train up well? Leave your comment below. Hit subscribe. Share this video with your other horse racing friends. And remember, smash that like button so that we get more views leading you up to the 2020 Breeders' Cup.